Hello, and welcome to my review of It, the novel by Stephen King. Today we're going to be taking a look at chapter 23 entitled Out. And I don't usually record these chapter reviews right after I get done reading, but I thought I would do that today because I actually was listening to this while I washed dishes and I didn't write anything down, so I thought, hey, might as well go ahead and record the review so I don't forget anything. So, overall, hey, I like this one a lot better. This time we get a continuation of the story where they are facing it down in the sewers. And I really liked this little battle they had going there. We're in the present, well, the present is in 1985, and we follow Bill and Richie as they are facing the monster in the tunnel, and Ben is still hanging back, smashing all the eggs. Long story short, Bill just beats the shit out of this thing, and it dies with the help of Richie and Bill working together. There was a close call with Richie kind of getting hurt, but Bill ended up carrying him down the tunnel, and they found Bev, and they ended up getting out of the sewers. And at the same time this is happening, oh my god, a bunch of crazy stuff is happening in Derry. The standpipe explodes, and a bunch of buildings kind of the standpipe gets knocked over, and a bunch of buildings are exploding, and the streets opening up, and rain is falling, and basically Derry is just getting completely destroyed. And I think the reason that happened was because it made Derry. And now that it is gone, Derry is slowly being crumbled, and a bunch of people died. I think I said like 60-something people died, and the death toll continued to rise as the day continued. But it was very surreal. It was sort of like this disaster movie type scenario, but it was cool, the detail put into it, and it was kind of like the big blowout at the end of the movie. Like, it's almost over, let's just, The streets were crumbling, and that is how they end up getting out of the street. They walk down the passage. They end up leaving Eddie. Audra actually was not dead, it said technically. She might have been severely hurt to the point where she might not ever be conscious again. We're not entirely sure if that's what happened. But basically, they have to leave Eddie. The symbol on the door is gone. It is dead. Bill, like I said, grabbed its heart and made it explode, and it died. And they escape through a hole in the street, and photographers come through and take their picture as Ben is hugging Bev, and it just says survivors on the caption. I really liked that. That was just a sweet little moment we got at the end there. And it says at the end, they're all walking together, and they go down, and they just go see Mike. And as Bev looks in the mirror at the hospital as they're going up to see Mike, she thinks that she sees in the reflection Stan and Eddie with them, the six of them going to see Mike again. And that was really nice. Then we switch back. Oh, I forgot to mention one little thing. The passage between the library explodes, between the adult library and the child library. Obviously very symbolic. They didn't remember their childhoods for a long time. And it's kind of like that bond where they're all together in Derry being severed. So symbolically, the child library and the adult library, the little passageway explodes and is never rebuilt. Then we go back to the past. We don't really bother with how they got out of the tunnel because I think it would be just a little repetitive at this point, because their childhood and their adulthood are very similar, and I think they probably got out of the tunnel similar to the way they did, snaking their way through the passages as they did when they were adults. So we just kind of cut to the past, and they are escaping from the pipe and going into the barrens. And it's talking about the sunset looking all pretty and all these creatures, and they feel one with the environment. And they all stand outside, and they cut their palms, and they join hands, and they pledge to come back if anything ever happens. This scene is a lot different than I thought it would be. I kind of thought it would be a sort of like a, I don't know, some sort of scenario where they were outside just on an ordinary day. But it turns out it was sunset, and they just made this pledge, and it was really cool, although Stan's voice faltered, and we later know what happened to Stan, unfortunately. But I didn't think that took away from this moment at all. Then we get the kids going back through the barrens, sort of exiting for a final time, and it says the seven of them never really got together again. They just sort of, almost wordlessly, walked out of the barrens, looked at it a final time as darkness is filling it. That's what Bill did. He stood out there just looking at the barrens, and he thought to himself, I never want to play here ever again. But he didn't say it in a bad way. He just said, that's just the way it's going to be. He walks back to his house and he's whistling and the sun's setting, and just the book itself is sort of reminiscing about all the things they did together. And it just ends with Bill whistling and walking back to his house. And if you remember, Bill actually did feel a lot of despair going back home, so it's almost like it's come full circle. It's the same thing with him talking to the kid earlier in the chapter that was playing with the boat and telling the kid everything was going to be okay. It's like him circling back symbolically to his responsibilities and how he felt about Georgie. So very nice. I know that there's an interlude left and also an epilogue, so I think for all intents and purposes, this is the end of the typical narrative of the book. As an ending, I liked this. It was just about what I expected. Maybe there should have been a little bit more conflict, but I liked it. It was nice. It was sweet. It was a great send off for those characters. I'm curious to see what they're going to do in the interlude and what they're going to do in the epilogue. But like I said, I'm sure this is the proper ending. So, hey, when stupid stuff isn't happening, I really like this book. So that's really all I have to say. I'll see you in the next two. If you like this content, be sure to like this content because I'll be making more of it. And if you want to get more content like this, please subscribe and hit the little notification bell and hit all notifications. And leave a comment about anything you like in the book, as long as it's not from the next two chapters, which I still have to read. In the meantime, talk to y'all later. Bye-bye.